Hello and welcome to this late morning taste challenge. I'm finishing up this Hardywood JoJo's Imperial Stout. Yeah, it's nice. $3.75, 9.2% alcohol. Woof. It's not amazing. It tastes like a Trader Joe's / Aldi store brand, which they can reach excellence. They can reach excellence like the barrel aged stout and the chocolate lava cake stout from Aldi, but they never seem to reach most excellent. You know what I mean? There's always like some little store brandy kind of not so greatness to it. But $3.75 a can. Can't complain. I bought one can. Satisfied. Tastes like a sandwich cookie, more or less. Not barrel aged, but I don't really like barrel aged stouts anyway. Although I did give the new 2025 Bourbon County brand stout a 100 out of 100 because it was that awesome. But anyhow, I have two rye whiskeys, Kentucky straight rye whiskeys. Now, this is Sazerac Rye. It's my second bottle. Finished my first one years ago. I said they were 40, both 40 proof. I'm sorry, 80 proof. This one's actually 90 proof. I'm sorry for the mistake. I forgot about that. That's right. Buffalo Trace and Sazerac Rye is both. They are both 90 proof. 90 proof, no age statement, but I've heard 6 years probably correct, but can't verify that. Buffalo Trace, they told me on the phone their bourbon is about 6 years old, but she said we don't make an official statement, but you know it's well, blah, blah, blah. But you know it's 6, but they don't say it. Tax reasons. That's what Jack Daniels told us. They said they don't put an age statement because you got to pay extra tax, which of course they're going to pass on to the consumer. So they just don't make an age statement, even though they're telling you unofficially it's 4 years. Okay, Sazerac Rye, 45 proof. Jim Beam Rye, 80 proof. I'm about to show that 80 proof. Sorry for the mistake, but I thought there was something in my mind earlier like 45 proof. 90 proof, 45 proof, that wouldn't even qualify as a whiskey. Here's Jim Beam Rye, introduced way back in 2024. Now, it might be a reintroduction because there was a Jim Beam Rye, and it was on the market from 1938 to 2015. Then they replaced it with Jim Beam pre-Prohibition style rye, Jim Beam Rye pre-Prohibition style, but that was abruptly discontinued and replaced with this one. Now, on the website, they show a white neck like I have, but they also show a green one. So I don't know if they make them both interchangeably, the white and the green, or if there was a mistake or something. I don't know. I just simply do not know. Okay, price point. Okay, so no age statement, 90 proof, 80 proof, introduced in 2006. I know this for a fact because they've shown it on the website. 2024, I know this for a fact because I was in the store when they first hit the shelves. So I know that's correct. They're both straight rye, which means they're aged at least 2 years in new charred oak barrels, and they have no coloring or flavoring added, which is never allowed in a straight whiskey of any type. So I'm going to pour them up. Do the Sazerac since it was introduced first. You might find a bottle that says produced in New Orleans, Louisiana. Because some of Sazerac Rye's production is in Louisiana, in New Orleans, at the Sazerac House. They have a small distillery, a micro distillery, you could call it. And I've watched them distilling it. So it is possible that you could find a bottle that says New Orleans, Louisiana, instead of Kentucky. It might say Louisiana straight rye. I would definitely not open that bottle and I would not drink it. I would save it to sell because that's a rarity. They told me at the distillery in New Orleans, they said, look, we distill it here, but we send it back to Kentucky to age it and bottle it. So they only distill it in Louisiana. They send it to Kentucky to age and bottle. But man, if you could find that, you got something. And the guy was talking to us for a long time. He was really nice. He wasn't stuck up or anything. Now here's the Jim Beam Rye. Like I said, might be the old recipe that they brought back, might not be. I know it's 80 proof, non-age stated. Push all this out the way. There we go. Not really that widespread. I've never seen it sold in my town. My town got 28,000 people. I found it in Metairie, Louisiana. I don't really see it around. So that's why they put it under their limited section of their website. Because really not that common. It's around, but are you going to see it? Of course, Jim Beam Bourbon, every store, every liquor outlet in the world sells that. Is your local Sazerac distillery open to the public? Says Craft Beer-tastic. It is. It is open to the public. And in fact, the tours are totally free, which is why Buffalo Trace is not allowed to be part of the Bourbon Trail. Because the Bourbon Trail Association, one of the rules that you have to charge admittance to go on a tour. True story. In Sazerac, Buffalo Trace, Sazerac, they say we don't charge people to go on our tours. They're free. And so we're not going to join it. So they're not on the Bourbon Trail. They never charge for a tour. That could change tomorrow, of course. Now, as you would imagine, the tour always ends at the gift shop. They do give free samples. They don't charge you to park. They don't charge for the tour, and they don't for the samples. But of course, they have a gift shop with beautiful glasses and funny thing about it, if you go to the Sazerac House in New Orleans, and the end of the tour is the distillery. The very end of the tour on the bottom floor is the distillery where they're making the Sazerac Rye. I think that's the only thing they make there. Now, I could be wrong. They might make Sazerac. They might make Buffalo Trace bourbon there sometime. I don't know. They were making rye all the time I went there. Then the gift shop. But you can buy bourbon there, or rum, or gin, or brandy, or rye whiskey. They sell their products there. So I know people say, man, I can't find Eagle Rare. I cannot find Eagle Rare. They sell it like, and they usually have it in stock. And it's like $40 or $35. It's not marked up. Because they're just retailing it. They're not going through a distributor or a grocery store or a liquor store. So now you notice both of these are copper. I poured a little bit too much of this. What is this? The Jim Beam Rye. It's funny because I'm trying to save them, for future taste challenges, and then I overpour, and then I'm wasting it because I don't want to buy any more. I think this is the last Kentucky rye I have, the Sazerac, and then we going on to Tennessee, Jack Daniels, and then Canada. Yes, they make a lot of rye whiskey in Canada, and then Scotland. Now, when you think of rye whiskey, you don't typically think of Scotland, but yes, I'm going to tell you right now, I bought a rye whiskey from Scotland. Jason Cleveland says, good morning, Jay. I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you. And it's raining so hard, I can't even go out and get the garbage cans. The garbage man passed, waste management passed, but the rain's coming down in buckets, so those cans can stay out on the street. I usually pick up my neighbor's can. She's elderly, and my next door neighbor over there, they're becoming elderly, so I pick up their cans, but right now it's going to have to wait. Erwin Papa says, cheers. Cheers to you. Jason Cleveland, will Tulane football win tomorrow? They'll win if they score more points than the other team. I really don't know. It's going to be live on ABC television tomorrow night at 5 o'clock Pacific time. American Athletic Conference Championship. Might be nobody in the stands because look what we're looking at. You might hear the rain out there. It's just, we haven't had rain in like 3 months, so it can rain. I'm happy. My whole yard was dying. Now it's like, oh, the rain is here, thank God. And I did say a prayer. I was very thankful. Am thankful. But true story, I can buy a ticket. I think the game would have sold out easily, but then the people started hearing about this terrible weather coming, and so then nobody was buying the ticket. I was looking on the website this morning. I could buy a ticket for just over $16. $16. I think the prices, they lowered the prices because of this mess. I think it would have been like $50, you know. But and those are the bad seats. But even though it's only $16.30, I don't know. That's a strange price. But I'm not going. No, I'm not going out in that. I like football, but I don't like it that much. You know, it's sad, but just not going to do it, you know. I feel bad, you know, because they probably only have a few people at the game, but you can't blame anybody. Look at this. And I don't know. Both teams lost their coach, although the head coach is going to continue coaching until the season's over, but they're going to go to other teams. North Texas lost their coach to Oklahoma State. And Tulane lost their head coach to Florida, going to University of Florida. And there's no hard feelings. You know, Tulane was like, well, you know, we can't tell you nothing. You know, we can't really hold it against you for taking a better job, or what's perceived as a better job, at least. May not be true, but it's up to you. Go ahead. Sazerac Rye. 19 years ago, right after Hurricane Katrina. Maybe that was spurring to try something new. And if you go to that museum and that give you a whole history of the Sazerac cocktail, how it was developed in New Orleans at coffee houses. Many of them masqueraded as booze houses and maybe other things, but they masqueraded as a coffee house at least. And there's the tasting notes. There's a rocks glass with the Sazerac Rye. There's also a Sazerac Rye bottle and bond, which I can't find. Not going to buy it. There's also this 18-year-old. If you could find that, Emerson, Lake, and Palmer would be proud of you, because I don't think you can find it too easily. Even at the Sazerac house, they probably don't have it. They might. Thomas Handy Sazerac. If you could find this one, you really got connections. You really got connections. But the chances of finding Thomas Handy Sazerac is basically nil. But it exists. It exists. It exists. It exists. Somewhere. All right, Jim Beam Rye. Well, this one's kind of hard to find too, honestly. Well, from my reckoning, I like that green cap. I like that green cap. But now the bottle I bought has this white cap. See the white cap. See it turning around. Oh, it's a carousel of bourbon. I'm sorry, rye. A carousel of rye whiskey. A carousel of rye whiskey. There's actually a bar in New Orleans in the French Quarter called the Carousel Bar. And when you sit there, it slowly turns around. So you sit there and drinking and talking, and it goes around a couple of times while you're there. At the Royal Sonesta Hotel. True story. All right. And I've been to that bar, and I've drunk alcohol at that bar. Don't remember what. Beer, most likely. Okay. Well, has a minty quality, but I wouldn't say that it's like amazing minty. But it has a, like, if you smelled it, you would think it has a faint rye whiskey aroma, but you would probably not know what it is. You know, you just say, "Well, it smells like rye whiskey." I'm my right hand because my hand is cold. I think Louisiana and Seattle are similar in some ways about dampness. You know, dampness, moss, mold. And when I went to Seattle to see the Mariners twice, I saw them twice, 2 days in a row. It was very damp over there, and drizzly and rainy. And I went to the zoo and it was rainy, you know, drizzly, but I didn't mind it because it was during July, I think. I have the ticket stub somewhere. I have it written down in my book where I went when, but wasn't. I just had a t-shirt on. It wasn't cold, but it was drizzly. It was rainy, damp. It was like a marine climate because that's what it is. All right, but it gets cold. I know in the winter it's miserably cold. I watch those Seattle Seahawks games and I'm like, I'm glad I'm in the warmth watching a game on television. I'm not in that stadium giving them a rah-rah cheer. The Kingdome might have been comfortable, but I know it was a cheap stadium they built. It's all demolished now. I noticed when they had the little banners up all around Seattle, they had King County. It's in the county, King County, and it was Martin Luther King's face on it. And I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure that when that was named, it wasn't Martin Luther King they were talking about. But you know how these people are. They co-opt other people's legacy for themselves. You know, it's like, even though he has no connection to this city, and his name King is not in any way related to Kings County, we're going to use his image to like promote our virtue. You know, we're going to signal to the world our virtue or something. You know, and I was like, wow, that's a really cheap, pretty obvious, lowbrow way to promote your virtue, you know, in your city streets. But I didn't care. But I just had to laugh at it, you know. Oh, true story. His real name was not Martin Luther King. His real name was Michael King. You can check me on that. You want to lose some money? I'll bet you. But he changes inexplicably. This is the strange thing. He and his father inexplicably changed their names from Michael King Sr. and Michael King Jr. to Martin Luther King Sr. and Jr. when he was 12 years old, and no one knows why they did that. I guess they knew why, but it was never explained. And I've told people that before. I said, did you realize that his real name was Michael King? And then people's response was like hostile. What that's supposed to mean? So it was actually not supposed to mean anything. It's just a detail of history. You should not construe that I'm using that as an attack on the person. I said this is a real fact that his name would be like saying, you know, Cleveland was originally supposed to be spelled Cleavend, but they literally misspelled it to Clevend. So now it's called Cleveland, Ohio, but it was originally supposed to be Cleavend after the man's name, but they screwed it up and they just kept the name. Just like Cocoa was supposed to be Cocoa, Cocoa, but the guy, he was a good scientist, but he wasn't a good speller. This British explorer, and he spelled it cacao, 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 you know, cacao beans. But he was trying to write cocoa. He didn't know how to spell, so he spelled it cacao, and now it's cacao beans, but it's supposed to be cocoa beans. But that's what it is, cocoa beans. So it's like shimmy, shimmy, cocoa pop. Like you can't even figure it out, and it's a game. And Frankie Avalon, he was all right. Yeah, so it's not a whole lot of aroma here. It's kind of mild. Okay, so in an olfactory sense, these are both very mild. They're tamped down. So there's not a whole lot of aroma. It's just kind of low. It's low. It's not bad. There's nothing bad about the smell. It's just low profile. Like David Bowie in 1977, low profile. Um, kind of a basic taste over here to my left. Trump grants pardon to sports executive. Vanderbilt is reportedly preparing for a possible game on Saturday. What are they talking about? What is this? What is this news? What am I looking at? All right, anyway. Is this the Onion or Babylon Bee? Okay, can't get this to come down. Go away, co-pilot. I don't want you. It's taking over the ship, just like Hal. I think a little more aroma is starting to come out over here to my right, and I think that's indicative of Sazerac Rye. Oh, all right. There's no way this is Jim Beam. There's no way. There is no way that this is Jim Beam because A, Jim Beam does not have an oaky flavor to my Jim Beam Rye. B, Jim Beam does not have the depth of flavor. C, Jim Dean Dean Andrews, Jim Dandy to the rescue. No, Jim Beam does not have the savoriness of this. Or the depth of flavor. Oh, a dry oak. Oh, It's almost like you in a wood shop and you taste the shavings. Yum, 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 yum. Now, let me say this to you, and I'm unanimous in this. This is the Sazerac. Obviously. And it wasn't on the proof. It wasn't like 90 proof overpowered the 80 proof, although that probably would have happened over repeated sips. But I'm saying that there is no competition between Sazerac Rye and Jim Beam Rye. They do not taste alike, except they have a minty rye, a generalized minty rye flavor. But do I like Jim Beam Rye? Yes, I do. Is it a quality product? Certainly is. Is it worth $13.49? You best to believe it. So I like it. I would recommend it. But it's not up to the level of the Sazerac Rye. Hello, Herbie in India. So you're scheming on a thing, and that's a mirage. But I'm telling you, it's sabotage. No, it's Sazerac. Because, it's just a much better quality product. Is it worth the extra $6.49? Oh, $6.50 actually. $6.50. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's your birthday. Well, hello. Well, congratulations on your birthday. Happy birthday to you, Herbie. Born late in the year, eh? My grandfather was born. I know some people that were born like after Christmas, but before New Year's. All these people, they were born after Christmas, before New Year's. and they would have a birthday party. Nobody would come to their party because they were doing family stuff. So it's sad in a way. Oh, mint sugar, like a candy, like a good quality candy sugar or sugar candy, a sugar candy. Oh, so much delicate and so much intricate flavors. It's so developed. It's, oh man. Look, enough's enough. I did Beam Rye against Old Overhaul. I couldn't tell those apart generally. Basically, I couldn't tell them apart. Old Overhaul, Beam Rye, I couldn't tell them apart. I did Jim Beam against Knob Creek. I could tell them apart, but only because of proof. The Knob Creek is 100 proof and the Jim Beam's 80, so you could tell it was stronger, but they kind of tasted like the same, like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. They kind of tasted like it was the same product. One was kept at 100 proof and one was watered down to 80. Not saying that they were, but could be a reason why they tasted identical. I did the OZ Taylor, the Winchester Rye, and that I couldn't really make it. That's a 1 year age rye. I bought it. I bought it. I don't regret buying it, but I don't know why anybody would really want to buy it, to tell you the truth, because I don't see any benefit from it. It's bland, and you wasting $6.50 to buy something that's inferior to the cheaper product. But this Sazerac Rye, no, there's no hope. I'm sorry, Jim Beam. And I like Jim Beam products, and I take a lot of heat from that. A lot of people get on my case about that. Like, Jim Beam is trash. You're stupid. You're so dumb. All the real cool people never drink Jim Beam. They tell me that. Like, if you were a good whiskey reviewer, you wouldn't like Jim Beam, and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I like it. I don't know what you want me to say. You want me to lie, come on the internet and lie and say I hate it, so I'd be accepted? No, not going to happen, but okay, so I like it. But in isolation, when I'm drinking it on its own, it's like, oh, it's nice. I like these little intricate things, it's got some little qualities to it. It's well made, obviously. It's a great deal, especially for $13.49. I mean, after all. But then you put it in. Hello to you, portable portal, a portable portal. But then you put it in competition against Sazerac Rye. There's no hope. There's no hope. It's impossible. No. Not even close. It's not even close. Is Sazerac Rye the best rye whiskey I've got in my collection? I think it probably is, because there's nothing I have that has this level of flavor. No. Not even a Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye, which I love, by the way. But I don't think so, no. So there you go. I can get this. This is a fabulous price. It's close to it's a high 90s. 9.6, 9.7 out of 10. I mean, this is no joke. This stuff is no joke. This stuff is no joke. And you can get it for $19.99 in New Orleans. $19.99 for the big bottle. And then you can get the bottle and bond, which I've never tried. It's just a stronger version for what, $5 more? This thing is a lethal weapon against all the other rye whiskeys. Honestly, it just, you say, oh, well, you're from Louisiana, so naturally you're going to say it's the greatest thing. You're such a home team person, and no. And if you go back and watch my Louisiana beer reviews, you'll notice that many times with Louisiana beers, I do not give them very good scores, because a lot of them are not very good. Some are overrated. We won't name who, but you know what I mean. You know who I'm talking about. But I don't run behind a home team. I mean, do I want a Louisiana product to score above the rest? Well, naturally, yeah, but I'm not gonna pretend, I'm not gonna. It's like I watch a football game and people say, "Can you believe they call holding?" And I'm like, "Well, it was holding." Even though I want the Saints to win, he was holding. I'm not gonna. Like the Beastie Boys said, "Be true to yourself, and you will never fall." Good morning from rainy southeastern Louisiana, says Carlo Palmerigio. Good morning to you from southeastern Louisiana. Jason Cleveland says, I like Jim Beam products, and anyone that takes issue with that is obsessed with logos. I don't know if they're obsessed with logos. I don't know what their like, I don't know what their trip is, because I've been dealing with this I say dealing with it like, like I'm really worried about it, but you know what I'm saying? No, I mean, like I've been hearing people say, oh, Jim Beam. Oh no. How could you say that? It's not any good. Oh no. I was like, why are you worrying about Jim Beam? It's like you talking about you were drinking Hancock bourbon and you worrying about Jim Beam, but if Jim Beam doesn't matter, and if Jim Beam is no account and it's a laugh and everybody considers it a joke, it's like, well, why are you worrying about it? Oh, because it's the number one selling bourbon in the world. Oh, right. And you can't understand why people like it. And they're not drinking what you, okay, I got you. Like, Budweiser, well, we're not going to mention Budweiser. We're not even going to bring up Budweiser because that really sets off a stream of enragement. They got people, they can't sleep at night worrying about Budweiser. It's too bad that Pikesville Rye, 110 proof, 750 milliliters, friggin' $58.99 at my Total Wine and More. It is too bad because that's a high price. Jim Beam thumbs up, says portal. Florida checking in, says James Morgan. Oh, welcome, Florida. I've been to Florida many times. I love going to Florida. What is the difference between pre-prohibition rye? Well, good question. Well, it's got a different label. It's got a different bottle design. It's got a green label. It's hard to say though. To me, this is me. Same product, but one is put at 90 proof, whereas this one is 80 proof. And they start at a high proof and they just start adding tap water and they bring it down. Okay, that one's 100. Okay, that one's 90. Put it out. That one's 80. Or maybe 86, then 80. Because neither one had an age statement. They're both from the same people. It was abruptly discontinued last year, which I could not figure that out. That was very strange. He says right on. Yeah, I think right on, like really right on, because I think they were taking the same recipe and they were putting one at 90, putting it out there in a fancy bottle, upcharging it. I didn't mind. I paid the $17.49. No big deal. But then I don't think the sales were really too good on it. So they just said, oh man, forget it. Let's go back to the old recipe from 1938. Ain't costing us a lot. Bring it down to 80. So you're selling, adding tap water, sell at 80. If nobody buys it, it's no loss because it was probably never really a big seller before 2015. It was probably just out there. Did I see a lot of Jim Beam Rye before 2015? Honestly, not really. I think it was a niche product before that. But you could find it, but it wasn't really around that much. Then they said, we got to get this rye stuff going. Rye is becoming a big deal. It's becoming a big deal. So let's repackage it and bring it up to 90 proof, and it's going to be a big hit. And they brought it up to 90 proof. Yeah. And then it really, it really wasn't a big hit. So they just said, oh, phooey. Let's go back to the old recipe, make a new label. And I can't say this is definitive because I certainly have no inside information. This is theory, not fact. Not fact by any means, although the theory contains facts, but it's not a fact. So, and I think they just decided we'll just continue it as a niche product. Some old guy will buy it. He's 73 years old. He drinks Sazerac Ryes. He drinks rye Manhattans. He drinks rye old fashions. Ain't nobody else cares about it. Anybody cares about it. Good marketing, though. It was good. I think it was a good marketing. I think they gave it a really good faith marketing attempt. I think that it just didn't catch on. People just really weren't interested in it. I was, but that's me. That's not the rest of the world. Is rye whiskey more popular in Canada? I don't know. I haven't done a study. It could be the case. Yeah, I don't think it's too popular in Ireland or England or Scotland. I could be wrong on that, but I don't believe so. Now, I have a rye whiskey coming up that is from Tennessee, which I would consider another failed brand. I would consider this another failed brand because they came out in 2017 and they did kind of ballyhoo it. It was a little bit ballyhooed. It was Tennessee Rye. It was called Jack Daniel's Tennessee Rye, and they had some ad campaigns, and I think they put some stuff on side the city buses. A little. I don't recall any television ads, but kind of a promotion for it. Oh, I think Jack Daniel's always did make a rye, but it was kind of like not particularly produced, aside from a little outlier as an outlier product, which 99.99% of people never saw and weren't upset that they never saw it. So they came out with Jack Daniel's Tennessee Rye and made a big push, a real honest push, and it didn't go anywhere. And both times I bought it, this is a true story. Both times I bought it, I bought 2 full-size bottles. Both times I bought it was on discount. What does that tell you? I bought it twice, and both times it was on a discount. And this is right after it hit the market. So I'm thinking, no. Nobody's buying it. It's dying on the vine. And sure enough, last year, gone. And a good product too. I think when I do the taste challenge here, it's going to easily beat Jim Beam Rye. I don't know this. I haven't done a taste challenge, but I think I cannot see Jim Beam Rye beating Jack Daniel's Tennessee Rye. No, I cannot see that happening. Now then, once we leave there, we're going into Canada. I have Alberta Premium. Alberta Premium is okay. I don't mind it. I got a good deal on it after all. A local store tried to sell it. No, like literally no one would buy one bottle. They brought in one bottle, just to see one bottle. No one bought it for like 3 months. And I was like, I ain't paying $24.99 for that. And then one day it was $14.99, and I was like, I'll pay $14.99 for that. But it's pretty bland. And then I've got the Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye. Now that's a real winner for me because I like the flavor. I do not think it's a real winner for Crown Royal. I don't see anybody buying it. Most stores do not stock it. The only time I bought it was a super incredible discount, which all signs indicate to me that it is a bad seller. It never caught on, and it's probably going to be discontinued maybe by the nightfall tonight. And I don't care because I do not work for Diageo. And then I have a Scotch Rye whiskey coming up. You say, Scotch Rye? Are you mad? Are you going crazy? Man's going crazy. No, it's a rye whiskey from Scotland. True story. And it's made by the world's most famous Scotch whiskey company. And so, who makes it now. Haven't had a Jack Daniel's in a long time, says Portal. Really? Yeah, Jack Daniel's is all right. I'm not one of those Jack Daniel's haters. And I can drive 3 hours and get Jack Daniel's green label. I obviously wouldn't drive 3 hours to do that. But I do believe that the next time I go across the state line to Texas, I think I'm going to buy some Jack Daniel's green label. I think I will. I do think I will because it's an interesting product. It's a strange product, but it's interesting. And, Johnny Walker's on my shelf now. But check it. But it was weird. I was at Walmart today was not buying liquor. I was buying razor blades. I'm growing my beard right now. I want to see how gray it looks, But I was buying razors and fried onions and some noodles, whatever. But anyway, so I was in the liquor section because that's the only checkout that was open, which was very strange. But I was in the liquor section and I was looking around. I was like, where's the Johnny Walker Rye? I looked, I didn't see it. I looked around, I didn't see it. I said, oh no. It's been about 4 days since I've been to Walmart. I said, I bet you I know what they did, those little sneaks. Nobody was buying the doggone stuff. It sat on the shelves for 4 years or 3 years. And it might have sold one bottle, which was probably to me. I bet you in the last 4 days, they sold that for $5 a bottle. And they cleared it out. Because I know Walmart, I'm telling you, I've had experience with them. They say, oh, nobody's going to buy this stuff. And the manager said, put that on the shelf and sell it for $5 and get it out of my store. And it probably was across the whole United States. Walmart said, get it out of the store. And I didn't see a single bottle. Maybe I overlooked it, but I do not think so. I did not see a single bottle of Johnny Walker High Rye anywhere in that store. And when I went there 2 weeks ago, it was packed on the shelf. I said, they sold that for $5 a bottle. And I know people that would have bought 10 bottles. I know people that would have gone in there and bought 10 bottles. And people probably went in there and bought 10 bottles, which is why it probably sold out in 2 hours. And you say, do you really like high rye whiskey? And they would say, not really, but for $5 a bottle, I love it. Mr. Ron, did you do your cardio yet? Yes, I did. And you're getting ready to put on a pot of coffee? I'm getting ready to put on a pot of spaghetti. Irish coffee time. All right, so I'm going boil the Food Club thin spaghetti, which is very good, by the way. All right, anyway, probably made by the same people that make luxury or, you know how that works. Store brand made by the big companies, but they don't put their name on it. All right, anyway, y'all take care now. Bye-bye. The winner, easily the winner, Sazerac Rye, but who would have ever doubted it? I did kind of doubt it, but I got well schooled. I think it's the best rye I've got. Nice piece. Had spaghetti last night. San Giorgio thin spaghetti. San Giorgio. I'm unfamiliar. Too rough. I'm unfamiliar with that brand. Take care, everybody. It's a festival.